Welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 294, and I'm Lisa, your host, also known as Fiber Nymph, and I will put my screen in here that shows you where you can find me on social media and how to contact me if you'd like to. Alright, today is Friday, September 7th, and I'm a week out from leaving on a 19-day vacation with my husband. Oh my gosh, we leave a week from tomorrow. It's getting real, folks. It is cooler right now, but it's not really less humid. It's sticky out here. I thought it would be cooler out here. So I'm not drinking coffee today. I'm drinking water with lime. Because I'm fancy that way sometimes. Anyway, I have a lot of material to talk about today. Not just knitting, but I have a lot of very important shop news to share with you. Now, I know that not all of you stay for the shop news, and that's perfectly fine. But for those of you who do stick around for the shop news and are interested in following the shop, you're really going to want to watch the segment today. Or if you don't usually, but you're interested in what's going on, stick around for it, because I've got some really important news about the shop's temporary closure while we're away and the transition period to the new shop website. That's all going to be taking place kind of overlapping. It's sort of crazy, and it's one of the things that I'm kind of about right now, as I'm also getting ready for our trip and having a whole bunch of other business I need to take care of. But I just want to make sure that you're all up to date about it and you can know where you can find things and when. I almost thought about flipping the podcast and doing the shop news stuff first and then doing the knitting, but you know what? I put timestamps in, so if you want to jump ahead and watch the shop stuff, you're more than welcome. I just don't want you to miss it and then wonder what's going on when you suddenly can't find the shop. So, just a heads up that will be coming later in the podcast. I will say that I only have about half of my battery left on my phone right now, so I'm going to try to get through everything rather expediently before my phone dies. Well, you know what? Let me start by just saying hi, hello, and welcome. I often don't really do this part. You know, welcome. If you're new, I'm kind of crazy sometimes and scatterbrained and don't always remember to say things I probably should on a more regular basis, but I am really glad that you're here. I love communicating with you guys when you leave comments on the YouTube channel or, you know, on the Ravelry group in the episode thread or wherever. I do enjoy hearing from you and I do try to reply. I know I don't always get to everybody, but I'm so thankful that you're here and that you're choosing to spend a little bit of your time watching my podcast, whether you watch the whole thing or just parts of it, whatever. I'm really happy to be a part of your day. So thank you so very much for that. I know I don't say that often enough, but it really does mean a lot to me because I know there's so many podcasts out there and only so much time. Now we're going to get into the knitting, the 90%. I have some, they're not completely finished objects. They're more like hose. They actually are hose, half finished objects, or projects half done, PhDs. Is that what's, yeah, I think some people call them that. Anyway, the first one is one that I showed you last week that I had cast on as a sample for a new colorway that I'm doing. And this is my Dark and Stormy sock. It's the first one. Here, I'm going to stick it on a sock blocker. I've actually not put this one on a sock blocker, and I'm curious as to how it will fit on the blocker. This is my colorway, my 2018 Halloween colorway, which, by the way, if you shopped last Saturday's update, thank you so very much. This was very well received colorway. In fact, I ended up doing a very small restock of this yesterday, and those, as of this morning, were gone. So I apologize, I won't be able to get any more of this colorway in the shop until after I get back from my trip, but thank you so much to those of you who were enthusiastic about it and will have it to enjoy between now and then. Okay, here we go. And it does fit the sock blocker very nicely. So this is my Dark and Stormy colorway on my bounce base, my, again, 2018 Halloween colorway. I used Sarah Jordan's non-Euclidean heel pattern, I'm sorry. The non-Euclidean heel creates this really cool wedge. You can't really see it on here. I tried to take pictures of this on my foot this morning. Do you know how hard it is to take a picture of your own back of your foot, let alone the bottom of your foot? It's pretty impossible. And like, my cats and the dog were not at all helpful. They're just kind of looking at me like, you're crazy. So hopefully maybe I can get my hubby to take a good couple of pictures for me sometime. But basically, her non-Euclidean sock creates this wedge for the heel. It's really cool. It's this nice wide triangle. If you could see the whole thing here, I'll take it off the sock blocker. Maybe that'll help. She's got great pictures on her pattern page. I would highly encourage you to go check that out. But anyway, so this is how it's worked. You're doing these increases, and you're still working in the round. So it's really nice to work with for self-striping, because you're not messing up your striping pattern. Then you do the heel turn, and what I found really neat about this, because I love heel turns and I think they're magic, is basically the whole second half of the pattern, the non-Euclidean heel pattern, is the heel turn. So you're doing the wedge, which is your gusset that is growing, and then you're doing your heel turn, which is bringing it back in, and that's the whole second half of it, and that's it. You're not doing any gusset increase, like you don't have to pick up stitches for the gusset, you don't have to decrease your gusset. It's not like doing a heel flap heel. I mean, you do decrease, but differently. I'm explaining this poorly. It was a very enjoyable knit. I really enjoyed the pattern. I'm not all that adventurous when it comes to sock heels. I like a traditional heel flap heel. That is what fits me best. I have come up with my own fit for an afterthought heel that works really well for me. Other than that, I don't really play much with other heels, but I really wanted to try Sarah's heel because, whoops, I'm sorry, I didn't turn the sound off on my phone. Hopefully that won't happen too many times. I'm recording on my phone. Anyway, I love Sarah's patterns. She's such a skilled pattern writer, and I really wanted to try this. So I'm very happy with it. I did have to do a little bit of modifying, only because I was knitting on 60 stitches, and her pattern is written for either 56 or 64, I believe. I'd have to double check that, but my stitch count wasn't in there. So I did have to do a little bit of finagling, which ended up, it was more knitter error than the pattern. I did end up with some gaps, like here at the bottom of the, whenever I was done with the heel turn, that I did end up stitching up at the end. I don't think that would happen if you were following the pattern with the stitch counts that she had, but because I was doing it sort of differently, yeah, it just got a little weird. And I'm hoping for the second one I can mitigate that. Like, I have in my mind an idea of how I can mitigate that. The fit is really nice. I was a little skeptical. I thought it might feel kind of loose, but it doesn't. Now that I'm done with it, and I actually have a toe on it because I was trying it on before it was completely finished, and that's never completely good. But now that it's finished and I've had it on, it fits really nicely. It does feel different because it's not a heel flap that has the slip stitches. You know, that's a little snugger. And an afterthought heel fits differently too, but this is definitely does not feel like it would move around. I think in the future doing this, like for the second sock, I might try this. When I start the heel turn, I may make it a little wider than the way she has it written, just by like maybe 2 stitches, because I think it'll fit me a little better. It's a tiny bit pointed for my heel, but that's just my own personal preference thing. In general, I really enjoyed the pattern, and if you're looking for an alternative heel pattern, we've talked about this on the podcast before. Matter of fact, I did a drawing for her pattern back when it came out. She also has a version of this called the CPT, I don't know. Congruent parts of congruent triangles are congruent. CPT, I don't know. I can't do it. Sorry, Sarah. Anyway, that's the toe-up version of this same pattern. So if you knit toe-up, check out that one. If you knit cuff down, the non-Euclidean is the one you want. Anyway, loved it. I have not cast on the second sock yet, but I'm going to. I'm not sure if this will go on vacation with me or not. We'll talk about my vacation knitting plans in a little bit. But anyway, yeah, the only other thing, and this is totally nothing to do with the pattern, is I made this cuff super long. Like, this is way longer than I ever make my sock cuffs. And it's a little tight around my calf, because I have pretty meaty, muscular calves. Like, they're not fat, but they are very muscular. And so my calves really widen abruptly, I guess. Doesn't that make me sound attractive? Anyway, and that was another thing. I was worried that this wouldn't really fit me, but it actually does. This is a little tight, but it's going to stretch out over time, so it'll be fine. So I'm happy with how that turned out, and it's in my Bandit Fiber Co. Japanese knot bag that is perfect for Halloween, the Ouija board fabric. I love it. All right, so that is my first work in progress, half-finished object. My second one is a sock that I don't think you've seen, because for a while, I don't think I had it out last week, but I did have it out to take pictures for a shop update recently, and that is my Mountain House Autumn colorway that is covered in cat hair right now. The cats are, I don't know, they're having like a fall shedding season or something. Anyway, I had started this last year as a sample for that colorway when I first brought it out, and then I kind of put it away, which I don't know why, because I love these colors. So I had it back out again to take pictures, and so I've been working on it, and I finished the first sock except for the heel, which will be an afterthought heel. It's just my plain vanilla sock pattern that I always use, although this one I did all 6 stripes as the cuff before I went into the stockinette part. I never do ribbing that deep. My ribbing is usually 9 rounds. I know, weird, 9, but that's how far. This is, I don't know how many. I didn't even count. I did start the second sock, and I did, again, all 6 colors. So now I've just gotten past the cuff, and I'm starting on the stockinette. So all I really am doing as far as patterning, and that's just to keep it a little interesting for me, is I'm doing a little bit of slip stitch stuff when the colors change, and I'm doing it on both sides. Not the same, it's all random, different stitch amounts on each one. I just don't care. What I failed to do though is to stop doing that when I got down to what would be the foot part, which is something I would usually do, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm not going to really feel that. And there was one color change, I think, that I totally forgot to do that, but I don't know where it's at, and it doesn't matter. Again, if I can't see it, who else is going to see it? It's going to be on my foot. So this just needs a heel. This is the second sock, and again, I don't know that I'll take these with me on vacation just because I don't want to finish them and then be done and then not have something to knit. So they may wait till I get back, but I'm really enjoying it. And again, this is my bounce base, and this is the Mountain House Autumn colorway, one of the 4 Mountain House Seasons colorways that I have. All right, and this is just in a regular drawstring bag that I was given as a gift back at the Zombie Knit Apocalypse, the one year I got to go to that. And I want to say it was Corey iRock Knits, maybe? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's who gave this to me. It says, if you could spend an hour with anyone living or dead, what would you knit? I love it. All right, so those are my 2 hose. The only other thing I worked on this week is my Woolly Thistle sweater knit-along project in my awesome pufferfish bag. Okay, so here's the thing. Remember last week I was showing you this, and it was in that damson colored frangipani yarn, which is a lovely woolly 5-ply Guernsey yarn. Okay, I said Guernsey multiple times, and then I said Gansey, which a Gansey sweater is that really tight gauge knit and purl textured sweaters, traditional sweaters, right? I've always heard the sweaters referred to as Ganseys, but somehow I had the word Guernsey in my brain. And as I was editing last week, I'm like, oh my gosh, I kept saying Guernsey. Guernseys are cows, aren't they? Aren't they a breed of cow? And I was texting Sarah, I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I said Guernsey a million times. But then I looked it up, and it is actually also called Guernsey. Guernsey and Gansey are basically two variations on the same thing. It's a type of sweater. So, thank you. I'm not totally wrong. And then, I think on the ball band, or the cone band for this yarn, I think the cone, okay, do I have one in here? Sorry. Oh my gosh, I think I just ripped it into shreds. guernseywool.co.uk is what it says, but it says traditional Gansey tension. So they have both words on the label, so that's not at all helpful. Also confusing. Whatever. Guernsey, Gansey. Potato, potato. Maybe there is some other difference that I don't know, but I don't care right now. So anyway, getting back to my sweater. I was knitting the So Faded sweater, which I wasn't going to fade, I was going to stripe. So it was my striped, not faded sweater. And I started with the damson, which was that beautiful deep purple, and then I was going to stripe in this Moonlight, which is a nice silvery gray, once I got to the body. Well, when you saw it last week, I showed you I was at the second part of the yoke. The yoke is done, I think, in 3 sections, and I'd gotten past the first part, which is just the short row section that creates the higher back than the front. Then the second section is where you join it in the round and you start knitting in the round. And you're still doing your raglan increases at that point. Well, for my size, I was doing the double raglan increases because that's what the pattern said to do. And I was a little skeptical about that because I thought, this is going to look weird and puckery. And indeed, some pictures that I looked at on Ravelry did look weird and puckery. There was a lot of extra fabric like right around here going down to the armpits. So then I decided I'll check gauge, the gauge I was getting. I know, novel idea. And it turned out that my stitch gauge was way off from what I thought it was going to be based on the swatch that I did. Although, in my defense, I did not write down my gauge from my swatch. I just was trying to remember it. And I think I maybe was misremembering it. So I was getting way fewer stitches per inch than I should have been getting, which meant my sweater was going to be, yes, my sweater was going to be way bigger than it needed to be. Not only that, my row gauge was also quite off by like 6 rows over 4 inches. That's not good. So what I decided to do, and I think I mentioned this last week, I was going to rip back to the point where I joined in the round and then just follow the directions for the next size down, which I figured would probably split the difference between those issues. So that was my plan, and then I let it sit and I just didn't do anything because I was still feeling like, I don't know if that's the right thing to do. So then, throughout the week, I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And finally, I sat down the other day and I thought, okay, I need to deal with this. And I took it out with the intention of, ripping back. And I looked at it and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't think it's the right yarn for this project. That was my biggest thing. It's lovely yarn. I love the feel of the yarn. It's woolly and beautiful, but it's not going to have the drape that I think the So Faded sweater should have. That definitely, I think, would work better in a nice, soft, merino, superwash sock yarn, fingering weight, actually the correct weight even. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to rip it out and I'm going to start over with a different sweater pattern. So I did not rip it out at that point, but I did start hunting on Ravelry for a different pattern that I could do using my 2 cones of frangipani in the 2 different colors. And after wasting a lot of hours on that, I decided, Lisa, you're being really stupid. Just go to the Woolly Thistle website, buy 1 more cone of each color, and knit a sweater all in 1 color. That's what you need to do. And I'm not saying that as a way of rationalizing more yarn purchases, because I was really trying not to purchase any more yarn than I needed to. I had already purchased this cone, so I did have enough. I didn't know if I would be able to get the damson in the same dye lot, and I still don't know if it'll be in the same dye lot, but I'll make it work. So I did that. I ordered another cone of damson and another cone of Moonlight, which I think should be arriving today. So I now have 2 sweater lots of the frangipani, which definitely opened up my options, okay? And I then started searching for sport weight sweaters, and I landed on a beautiful sweater by Carol Feller called Tabbouleh, which I think is a fairly new pattern of hers. It's lovely, it's cabled, there's some lace, and I love cables. I have not knit a cabled sweater in a while. Let's see, here's some pictures. I'll try to show you the pictures without showing you the pattern. But that's the front. Isn't it pretty? It's just such a nice, elegant, simple sweater. I don't know if I'll do the pockets. I'm not a huge fan of pockets in knitted sweaters. But even without the pockets, it's just so pretty. And I love that that lace detailing goes down the sleeve. Can you see that on there? It's just adorable. Love it. So that's what I decided to make. And I cast it on. I've learned new techniques. And I've lost my... I don't know. Oh, here it is. Never mind. Didn't lose it. Yeah. It calls for a provisional cast on, a provisional crochet cast on, which I've done before, but instead of just crocheting a chain, you are crocheting it the chain directly onto your knitting needle, which I'd never done before. Carol Feller has an excellent tutorial video on YouTube on how to do that, and it was very easy. Plus, it was nice that I was only having to do it for, like, I don't know, less than 20 stitches. Made it very palatable. And then I started working on it. And the other thing that's new to me in this is it's a saddle shoulder construction. I will include a link to her blog where she talks a lot about saddle shoulder constructions. Although what I found interesting about her blog entry about it is the fact that it's very different, not very different, but it's different from how she constructs it in this sweater. Because traditionally the saddle shoulder, you do this piece here, which is a saddle. It's called the piece over your shoulder here, then a piece over your shoulder here, and then you knit those two together across the back, creating extra stitches between the two, obviously, like casting on extra stitches for the back of the neck. So it's done sort of in segments. This one, you actually are working across. You start from the center of the back and work across and then cast on extra stitches. Here, maybe I should just show you. This is what it looks like right now. So basically, once it's part of the sweater, it'll be like this. Crap, don't fall. Okay. It'll look like this. Now, this obviously is not blocked, and it's a little narrow at this point. I may actually end up knitting both of these out a couple more rows to make it a little wider. I have to measure. But anyway, so, and I'm also wearing like one of the raggiest t-shirts I own because I need to dye later on, and I'm just ready to work. Sorry. You're getting me like this today. So this is how this will sit. But basically this one, you started here in the center. You can see my marker, that's the center. And you worked out one side, and then once you got to a certain length, you cast on more stitches and then worked out the rest. And then you take your provisional cast on out of here, and then you put it on the needles and you do the same thing working in this direction. And so this is the upper back and the two shoulders. Isn't that pretty? I love cables. I love this project. Like, this is definitely the perfect kind of project for this yarn. Just absolutely perfect. It's not lost on me that I am now making another cardigan out of almost the exact same color that I made my antler cardigan out of. I have a thing for this color, and I'm not apologizing for it. I like it. So anyway, this is the start of a sweater, believe it or not. Yeah, or, you know, no. So the next step will be to pick up the back stitches. So like on the back, it'll, like, the back will work down from this edge on down. I was reading ahead in the pattern. Again, I know, novel idea. So you pick up those stitches next, and then you knit down as far as where your armholes are, and then you stop, and then you come to the front, and you do that in the front as well, each side separately. You'll knit down to the armholes on each side. And then I did not read any further than that, but I'm imagining at that point you join all of those pieces together and start knitting back and forth. This is a cardigan, not a pullover. Which is another thing. I don't know why I keep insisting on trying to knit myself pullovers, because I don't wear pullovers very much. I have some store-bought ones that I wear occasionally that I just bum around the house in, but as far as knitted garments, of the pullovers I've ever knit for myself, I don't wear them very much. They're just not as comfortable for me. I love cardigans though. So this is definitely just a much better project for me. Anyway, my goal for this, since I'm going to be gone 19 days out of this whole knit along for the Woolly Thistle, is I want to take this with me. I know, crazy, but I think I can. I'm just going to wind off the yarn into cakes, small enough cakes to accommodate in a bag that I can take on the motorcycle that won't be too obtrusive. We'll see how that goes, but I am planning to take it with me. I also have to figure out how to accommodate the directions, because these are pretty big. I don't know. I was thinking I could cut them up and like maybe put them on index cards, but that might not even be better. I can just fold it in half. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I think I'm going to take it with me so that I can work on it while I'm away. I have absolutely no idea how much knitting time I'm going to have while I'm away. I may not have any, or I may have too much. It depends. I think while we're at my sister-in-law's house those few days, there's definitely going to be car time. So I'll have some knitting time in the car. I don't know how much time I'll have other than that, because my husband doesn't believe in sitting still on vacations. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff, like all the time. But I may end up just making sure I have a sock with me at all times. So even when we're doing stuff, I might be able to knit on a sock. I don't know. Not sure how tolerant he'll be of that. Not that I think he'll really tell me not to, but he might think it's just crazy and weird. I did do some spinning. I started my combo spin. You knew I was going to start it before I left. I said, oh, I might not. You knew I would. Because I couldn't not. I will insert a picture here of what I've got on my bobbin so far. I'm spinning it on my sidekick, just using the regular flyer because I've got a whole bunch of bobbins for that flyer. I usually keep my bulky flyer on that one, or the jumbo flyer, whatever it's called. I usually keep that on my sidekick because I use it to ply a lot and be able to ply large skeins. But for this, I decided I'd just use the smaller bobbins. I'm rethinking how I'm going to apply this after some conversation we had in the group about this. I may end up 3-plying it, like doing a traditional 3-ply as opposed to the 2-ply that I was going to do. I'm still weighing that option. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'm enjoying spinning it so far. I will say it's a challenge spinning different fibers all at the same time, because you're spinning along with like a BFL silk, and then all of a sudden you're spinning, you know, something that's way toothier or Shetland, you know. It's just you have to adjust how you're spinning in order to not have the, you know, the single break or whatever. So that's been interesting, but I'm enjoying it. It's fun. I like playing with the colors, but it's not going to have any work on it between now and whenever you see me next, probably, at least not much. Let's see. Again, talking about travel crafting, I have to decide what to take. I don't think either of those socks I just showed you are going to go, just because I'm close enough to being done, depending on how much time I have. And that's the thing about this trip. There may be periods where I've got a chunk of time and I could just sit and knit, and I don't want to finish it really fast. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to do that because I don't have the space to take a whole bunch of knitting projects with me. Granted, I probably could stick a decent sized knitting bag in our camper, the motorcycle camper that my husband created into a sidecar. I will take a picture of this whole this rig for you. I haven't had a chance to because it's been in the garage most of the time. But Yeah, I mean, I know I could do that, but I'm trying to be reasonable because, again, I might not have any knitting time. I just don't know. But I want to be prepared. So what I am going to take, like I said, I'm going to take the sweater. Although now that I'm thinking about it, I might take the other one. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to take the sweater, one or the other. So I'll work on that a little bit, hopefully. The other thing I'm definitely going to take are sock projects, but something that I know I won't run out of. I don't know if you remember, I showed you this, I think, on the podcast several months ago now, was this West Yorkshire Spinners bird yarn, and I can't remember which bird this is, to be honest with you. But this was inspired by Carol, who's knits and spins on Ravelry, and she has the A Stitch in Time podcast. She used this yarn for a pair of socks, and then she did contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes out of the 3 colors that go with it. And I saw them, and I thought, oh my gosh, I love those socks. I have to have those socks. So I bought this yarn and these these balls of the contrast. But I bought 2 of these, not just one, because these are colors that my husband and I both love. So I decided that it would be so cool to make him and I matchy socks, right? Yes, it would be awesome. So I remember showing him the yarn when it first came in. He was like, oh yeah, that's nice. That's, enthusiastic. He loves his socks, the hand knit socks, but whatever. So the other day I was trying to think about what I was going to take with me on this trip, and I said to him, you know what would be really cool? I think I'll take that yarn that I showed you that I purchased so that we could have matching socks. Do you remember that? And he looked at me and he's like, I'm sure you showed it to me. So I went and got it. And I showed him. I said, this would be really fun because I could take this and I could just be knitting on socks for us while we're away, and would be at different locations, and then once we have the socks we could remember, or I could at least remember where I was when I was knitting them for us, then to have those memories knit in. And he looked at me completely serious. He's like, you've come up with the funniest ideas. And I looked at him, I'm like, hey hon, I said, this is a thing. Knitters do this. It's like a souvenir kind of thing. You knit on vacation, you have the memories of it. I said, kind of like that shawl that I was knitting while we were in Antigua when we got engaged. That's a memory shawl. It has memories in it. These can be our trip memory socks. And he's like, okay. So he's totally humoring me. But that's what I'm going to do. I don't know if I will take both skeins of this. I probably could. They'll smush. But I'm going to knit at least one sock for each of us. Or I'm going to at least knit on one sock for each of us while we're away. I'm going to take these and just wind off 20-gram balls so that I don't have to take the whole skein, because I won't need that much since I'm only using it for 4 heels, 4 toes, and 4 cuffs out of each color. One of those things out of each color. And I think what I'm going to do in able to differentiate these, because he and I both have similar sized feet, I think I'll make his socks a 2x2 rib because he really likes ribbed socks, and I do too, but I think I'll make mine a 3x1 rib. Or maybe a 2x1 rib. I don't know. It'll be something like that. But just so I can tell them apart when I do laundry. But yeah, that's going to be my plan. So that is definitely going with me. Part of the sweater I'm pretty sure is going to go with me. And the only other thing I'm thinking about is I might take, I don't know. I balled up these 2 skeins of my mountain tweed in the deep red and the autumn gold. And I have this vision of doing one of my elongated triangular shawls that I don't have a pattern for. It's just sort of my own recipe that I use. I would love to do a shawl out of these colors. So maybe I'll take this along. I don't know. That might be excessive. I thought about taking a tiny Turkish spindle with me too to spin, but anytime I do that, I never end up spinning. So I probably won't do that. Anyway, those are my travel crafting decisions that I'm trying to come to actual decisions on. Let's see what else. Designing. Okay, so I showed you the shawl, the Sunshine and Fluff shawl last week as a finished my finished object. I believe I've heard from all but one of my test knitters on that, which is amazingly quick. But hopefully I'll hear from the fourth one soon. As for the hat, which was the, I'm calling it the Around and About hat at this point. I'm not sure if that's going to be the final title. But this is one of them. This is the ribbed version. This is the slightly slouchy stockinette version. I have heard from all my test knitters on that. My goal originally was I was hoping to have this one out, the hat pattern out before I left on vacation, and then publish the shawl pattern when I got back. However, I've changed my mind and I'm going to wait and publish both of them when I return, because I feel like it's a bad idea to publish a pattern and then go away and not be able to really know if I'll be able to do pattern support or not if anybody has questions. I'd rather not do that. And also I want to be able to put kits in the shop for both of these, for the hats and for the shawls. So I'm going to hang on to those patterns and I will publish them after I'm back, and they will be one of the things going into the new shop fairly quick. So that'll be cool. But they're coming, and I'm very excited. The test knitters have been awesome. I love test knitters. They're always so helpful. All right. Let's see what's oh, the KALs, the fall KALs, September, October. All three of these KALs that we've got going on, or the alongs that we've got going on, are running this month and next month. So the first one is the combo spin along, which I don't know how many people I have. I know a few people have talked about they'd like to do it. I know Sarah's going to do one, and perhaps a couple of other people. But anyway, that'll be going on. So if you want to jump into that, feel free. You do not have to do 8 different fibers like I'm doing. You can do 2. It's fine. But that's a combo spin. The other one is that Finish That Sweater Along, which seems to have a lot of interest, so feel free to join us on that one. That's for any sweater that you might already have in process that you would like to finish. And then the last one is Halloween knits, and that can be, you know, socks, garments of some sort, hats, stuffies, whatever you want to knit that you can somehow bill as Halloween, even if it's just a Halloween-y kind of color for something totally unrelated to Halloween in any other way. That's fine too. So I do have Halloween colorways in the shop right now, which I'll talk about in a little bit from last week's update. So if you're looking for Halloween colorway, they're there. Oh my goodness. You know what? The other thing I was going to talk to you about was new things, and I did not bring either of them in to show you. Well, actually, the one I can't show you. The one, I ordered the book Handy Woman by Kate Davies, which I have only gotten to read the introduction so far, but I've loved it. I've looked forward to this book ever since I knew it was coming out. I have it, however, I've already lent it out to someone. I have a friend who's going to be having some surgery and recovery time while I'm out of town, and I wasn't planning on taking it with me anyway, so I lent it to her so she could have something fun to read. Or, I don't know, maybe that isn't fun when you're reading about somebody who's had a stroke and their recovery. It'll be interesting, let's put it that way. So I do have that as a new thing, and I am looking forward to getting to read that. The other thing, and I know you've already seen this like on 500 other podcasts, so it probably doesn't matter that it isn't here, but the Pom Pom Quarterly, the one with the celestial theme. Did I mention this last week? I feel like maybe I did. Oh, I'm sorry, now I have fuzzies in my mouth. I do have that, and I just love everything about that particular issue. I have never been overly excited about a lot of patterns in Pom Pom Quarterly's magazines. I think it's a very nice magazine. It's a great publication. The patterns just haven't always spoken to me. But I'll tell you what, I love almost everything in this one. I don't know how many of them I'll ever actually knit, but I love the photography. I love the models. The cover model, that older African-American woman, is stunning. And there are so many models. That's one of the things I do love about their magazine. They use models of color. They use models of different body shapes and size. Spot on. It's wonderful. Love it. But that woman on the cover, I just love her. She just is amazing. So, Yeah, and the sweater is also amazing. I would love to knit that sweater, but it probably will never happen. It's that one with that star, like the, you know, the moons and the star. Yeah, it'll never happen, but it's pretty. The other thing, which is sort of a new thing, maybe to some of you and maybe not, but I thought I would mention it because it came up this week. And, you know, pretty much most of us, I'm going to say, probably use Ravelry at one time or another, some of us more than others. I've been on Ravelry for like a decade now, at least, and I'm always amazed that I find new features that they may have been there for years and I just didn't realize they were there. Like, it was only within the last year that I realized that I could start project pages for spinning projects. Like, how did I not know that before? I haven't started one for my combo spin yet. I probably should. But one of our group participants messaged me this past week just saying that she had just realized that you can actually communicate with people, you know, your friends on Ravelry directly through their project pages by leaving comments on their projects. And she hadn't known that you could do that. And I said, well, I did know that you could do that one, but I said I totally can relate to like finding these things that, you know, that you can do on Ravelry that you never knew were there, even though maybe they were there for a while. So I just thought I would mention that. You know, if you're looking at somebody's pattern, if you go up there, there's like a comments tab, I think, and you can click on that and you can leave a comment directly on a project that somebody's working on. And that's kind of an easy, fun way to be able to communicate with somebody. I think your comment is public to everybody else. I don't know if there's a way to make it private or not, but I know whenever you're replying to that person's comment, you can make it just directly to them. So yeah, Ravelry is amazing. There are just so many wonderful features on the website. I know I'm preaching to the choir here on this probably, but I just thought I would mention that, you know, in case that's something that some of you didn't know. Okay, so that is everything I've got for you for 90%. Let's move on to 10%. There's a lot coming up here. 10% and shop news, a lot left. First of all, we did a massive reorganization here in the house this weekend. It was amazing. Do you see where Babette's sleeping today? She is sleeping on a box, and there's like a whole bunch more boxes right behind this wall. This weekend, my husband and I put the labor into Labor Day. It was Labor Day here in the United States and on Monday, and we worked our tails off this week. That day, and one of the biggest things we did was we moved some furniture. The bedroom that's in the back of the house, or actually in the front of the house, that is technically it's a spare bedroom, but there is no bed in it right now. There will be. It's the room that I use to keep my yarn in. It's the room I use to keep my business yarn in, and it's the room that I use for like packing orders and just keeping, and we mainly use it to keep a lot of other stuff in, and my husband had 2 Bowflex machines in there from his pre-married days when he actually had space and could move around his house. So there was a dresser and chest of drawers that were very old, and they were still here, and we had them stacked up and just were storing old clothes in them, like his work clothes and like, you know, canoeing stuff that doesn't get used very often. But it was very hard to access because of the other stuff that was in there. So I moved everything out of the way so we could move those 2 pieces of furniture out of there. And then I had a big red entertainment center that you used to probably be able to see in the background here. Maybe not super clearly because of the reflection of the windows. That's what you're seeing now. But it was sitting in the front of our living room. It was from my house. It was my entertainment center, which we're not using as an entertainment center here because we don't need it. But I wanted to put it back there. It's a huge pine cabinet, and it will store so much stuff. So we did that on Monday. We got that stuff, the old furniture moved out of there. It's out on the front porch waiting to be cut up. I know that sounds horrible, but like nobody wants this old furniture. We're going to cut it up and just burn it in the fireplace. And the big entertainment center is now in that room back there. So when I have time, I'll be able to organize and store a ton of stuff in there along with the clothes that were in those drawer units. I'm sorry, I'm getting really warm in here. So yeah, that was a big thing. That was so exciting to have done that. And then later in the day, I had said to my husband, I said, it would really, really be nice if we would be able to get those Bowflex machines out of there at some point and be able to put a bed in there so that, like, when my mom and her husband came to visit, or even when my son comes up on the weekend, sometimes he doesn't have to sleep on an air mattress on the floor. We could just put a bed in there, have it be a room where people can sleep. And so he was like, okay, let me find a place to store them. We can disassemble them. I'm like, really? So we did. We disassembled the 2 Bowflex machines. There's so much space. We put them out in this garage that's out here, and they are stored until they have a new home. And that's the other exciting thing. Okay, so I don't know if you've been watching the podcast for a while, you know that, whenever I moved up here after my husband and I got married, the original plan was we were going to build a studio for me, which was one of the reasons that we had this shed, this big garage built out here to put stuff in to open up other space. So the front porch is what we were going to redo and build a room out of the front porch and close it, and that was going to become my studio. In the meantime, my studio is down in our basement, which I originally thought was going to be horrible, but I actually really, really like, because it's bright. For a basement, it's definitely bright. There's 2 windows. Lots of light comes in. It's painted white down there. There's drop ceiling. It's perfect for what I do. All my stuff is down there. And so I said to him one day, I'm like, you know what? What if we didn't move my studio and just let me stay down there, and we could turn that front room that we're going to build into like the laundry room. We could move the laundry up here. And he's like, I'm not sure how that puts us ahead any, because I'm still going to have to put all the electric and the water and everything in up here if we do that. And you use the washer and dryer as the horizontal work surface, which is true, I do. I'm like, okay. I said I was just trying to, not have all my work stuff in the way of everything else. And he's like, well, it's not really a big deal. He's gotten used to it. At first, I think he was a little stressed out by all my stuff being everywhere down there, but he's gotten used to it, and it's okay. So then I said, well, you know what? What if we did this? What if we made that front room, when we do it, what if we put the Bowflex machines and the treadmill in there? And he was all about that. He's like, that would be perfect. He said, then we wouldn't have to deal with all, putting 220 electric out there. We wouldn't have to deal with plumbing. He says that would be great. We would have our own home gym kind of area. I'm like, yes. So that's the plan. I get to keep my temporary studio space is now my permanent studio space, which I'm perfectly fine with. Someone recently asked me if I would do a Instagram story of my dye space. Someday maybe I will, once things are way more organized down there, but because it's our working basement as well as, well, it's not the whole basement, it's a back room of the basement. And it's clean, it's just super cluttered. With my stuff plus all of our other stuff, So someday maybe I will do a video tour, but not anytime soon. But for now, it's a totally functional workspace for me, and I love it. So I'm very, very happy that we decided to do this. I have no regrets over not getting a brand new, shiny, dedicated dye space, studio space. I'm happy with what I have. So yay for all these things. In other news, in 10%, vacation. Again, we leave a week from tomorrow. There's most big things are done. The bikes are ready to go. I just got a tank bag for my bike, which, if you don't know what a tank bag is, it's basically sort of like a fanny pack for your motorcycle. Or purse for your motorcycle. It fits on top of the gas tank, which is the body part and behind the handlebars in front of the seat, that area right there, which lets you put, for a woman, things you might keep in a purse, the things you're going to need to access. I do have a bag that I carry. It's not a fanny pack, it's a thigh bag that I carry, that I usually keep my wallet and my money and keys and other kind of essentials like that on my thigh while I'm riding. But this tank bag has a clear plastic window. I'll be able to have my phone in there so I can use it for navigating, or for if I'm listening to an audiobook through the communicator. Oh, the communicators. That was the other thing we did Monday. More communicator drama trying to get those to work right. I think they're figured out now. But yeah, and I'll be able to keep a water bottle and some snacks or whatever in there. So I'm really excited about that. I think my husband thought it was a silly thing because I think he was basically just kind of crabby about it because I didn't ask him which one I should buy. I just bought the one that I researched and thought I wanted. And it's perfect. I love it. It's a Gibby bag. It's just 15 liters, so it's not super huge. They make bigger ones, but I like it a lot. And I even installed it myself, although I did have to have him kind of fix part of it because it wasn't staying on super. The flange that you have to put on the gas tank ring wasn't on as tight as it needed to be, so he did fix that for me. But otherwise, I put it on myself. I'm not going to be podcasting again before we leave. This is it. I'll podcast once we get back. I will, obviously, I'll be posting to Instagram to my personal account, which is the Fiber Nymph account. I will have no reason to post to the business account while I'm away. So if you're not following my personal account, feel free to do that. I have made it public. I used to have it private. It's public now, so you can just, follow it. I don't have to approve it. I just have to go in and block all the spammy accounts every day. Or the bot accounts, whatever they are. Okay, so now we're going to go into shop news. So if you're not interested in hearing about that, no problem. I'll see you in about a month when I come back. However, if you want to be kept up to date about what's going on, and a lot is going to be going on with the shop, now is where you want to kick in and pay attention. So, first let me start off by saying, if you earned August bonus grams for the Conversions Reward Program, I have gone in and I have posted those on your post, your finished object posts, that thread. I've put a notation in there that you earned them. You, however, need to add that 50 grams to your running total. I did not change your running total at all. You need to do that. If you think you did earn them, but I did not give them to you, please let me know. I very well could have made a mistake. I was trying really hard to make sure I gave everybody the benefit of the doubt because not everybody posted like the date that they posted their August, at least one August post in there. So it made it difficult. I was having to go back to project pages and see if it looked like it was finished in August. And I did my best, but I very well may have missed someone. So as long as, you don't go in now and edit that. But just let me know. Just if I legitimately missed you, please let me know and I will be happy to give you your grams. All right, so here is the upcoming scheme of things with regard to the shop. First up, I have a whole list here, so I'm just going to basically follow it so that I don't forget anything. Last Saturday's update was the last official update in my old shop, the Big Cartel shop. That's it. Thank you so much for shopping it. I did do like a mini restock, I said yesterday, of the Dark and Stormy. Those are all gone. I added some more grab bags to the shop. I think there's maybe 3 left. They're all semi-solid, so if you're interested in those, check them out. But they're there. That old shop, the Big Cartel shop, will close as of 6 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, September 13th. I think I originally said the 14th, but it's going to be Thursday the 13th. I can't let it go till that day before we're leaving. There's just no way. That would be crazy. Crazy! So it will be Thursday, September 13th at 6 a.m. I will be closing the shop, and the Big Cartel shop will be closed permanently at that point. Also, I am not taking any more special orders or custom orders at this point until after I get back from my trip and the new shop is open. I've taken those listings out of my current shop, so they're not available. It's not a thing. At this point, that's gone. I need to not do that. The only exception to that is the Downseller Studio Pigskin Party exclusive colorway. Those pre-orders, those are still in the shop. However, we're at the point now where anything that's ordered between now and when the shop closes, you will probably not get that yarn until after I get back. But I have that in the listing. It's spelled out, very clearly. I am currently working on starting to transition listings, like put listings in the new shop, the new website, that will be ready for when I activate that, when my web guy activates that after I return, which I've got to say, he's been fabulous to work with. Very patient with all my crazy, silly questions. But I'm working on doing those listings. As I'm doing that, though, there are probably going to be some things that are in the shop now that are going to start to disappear from the shop, so that I know they will be available in the shop whenever I reopen it in the new site. And that will mostly be like newer colorways, newer collections. Those Attenti bags, I'm going to transfer over, and any, well, not any, but some of the seasonal, more seasonal colorways, those are probably going to transfer over. So if you're looking for those and you want those, you may want to try to grab those like today or tomorrow, because I'm hoping to have anything that I'm definitely transferring to the new site out of the shop by tomorrow, by the end of tomorrow. Let's see. Okay, so that being said, there's still a ton of stuff in the shop. And in order to help me decrease the number of listings that I have to recreate in the new shop, I'm going to be having a moving sale in my old shop, the current shop. It will start Sunday at midnight, and it will run through the time that the shop closes Thursday morning at 6:30. So from midnight Sunday through 6:30 a.m. on Thursday, the 13th, if you use, crap, I didn't write the code down. I'm pretty sure, I'll put it down here to be sure. The code MOVING30, you will get 30% off of any in-stock item, which at this point, everything except those Down Cellar Studio, that colorway, everything is in stock. Anything in stock, 30% off. That code is not good to be used on the Down Cellar Studio colorway. I'm sorry, that's a pre-order. Please, if you are ordering that, place that on a totally separate order. You are welcome to use the 15% off code that I have offered for the pigskin party over in the Down Cellar Studio group. So if you're interested in using that 15% off code, head on over to Jen's group, Down Cellar Studio, and look in her pigskin party threads for the coupons, and you will find my code there for that. And you can still use that code, you know, again, until the shop closes. But the 30% off is good on everything else that is left in the shop as of midnight on Sunday. I would love to see as much stuff out of there as possible so that I have less that I have to transfer into the new shop. Call me selfish. Yeah, so again, moving 30 is the code, 30% off. I almost like never ever do 30% off anything. But yeah, 30%. What else? Okay, so between now and when the new shop goes live, I need to have ways to keep you in the know about what's happening. The best ways for you to stay on top of what's going on, especially once the current shop is closed, I'll probably be able to put like a little note up on that page that you'll be able to see, and I'll try to put like, you know, other information about this there, but I can't guarantee that that's going to be the best way for you to find things out. Number one, I have started a mailing list for a newsletter. I haven't done a newsletter in years, but I decided now is a really good time to start one. I can tell you I will never mail out more than one newsletter per week, and probably not even that. So you won't get spammed by me. I won't share your information with anybody else. But it will be a really good way for you, especially at this time of transition, to stay on top of what's going on and where to find things and really important dates. And upcoming things too, because I've got a lot of cool things planned for when the new shop opens. So if you want to sign up for the newsletter, I will put that information in the show notes on how you can do that. Basically, I'll tell you, go to the current FibreNymphDyeWorks.com website, and there's a subscribe link. Click on that, and that'll take you down the page, and you'll find the box where you can subscribe to the mailing list. It's that simple. Otherwise, follow the Fiber Nymph Dye Works page, like it on Facebook. I will try to post everything there. Follow the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Instagram group, which again, I probably will not be posting much there while I'm away, if anything at all. But between now and when I leave, and then once I get back, before that new shop opens, I will be posting things there. There's always the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group on Ravelry, which I will be putting information in. I have found that the Ravelry group is probably the least visited place for information, which seems odd to me, but whatever. It's maybe not an easy social media to stay on top of when you're not home at your computer. I don't know. But I will put information in there. And yeah, those are the main ways that you'll be able to stay on top. I just don't want to leave people hanging, and I'm feeling kind of anxious about it because this is such a huge transition from my point of view. The new shop and my current website, like, they're going to become one. My website has always been a separate entity from my shop. My shop has always been hosted, well, originally it was hosted on Etsy, but it's been on Big Cartel for the past many, many years. But now it's going to all be hosted under fibernymphdyeworks.com, which is very exciting to me. I'm happy to have my own shop that's being built specifically for me. So after I'm back from my trip, once the shop reopens, everything will be at fibernymphdyeworks.com. Just, that's it. It'll be easy. Everything will be right there. One link will take you to everything. It's going to probably be a little bit of a work in progress for a while. I'm going to get the most important parts going first. That's what I'm focusing on. But eventually I hope to be able to host like my colorway galleries on there, and just everything. There will hopefully be a shop blog at some point. These are all things that we're working towards, my web guy and I. He's way ahead of it than I am. There's just things he's waiting on me to do, and I just can't do it all at once. As for the new shop, once it is reopened, I'm really hoping to have the new shop and the new website launched by October 6th, which will only be a few days after we get back from our trip. So fingers crossed that works. But if not, it'll be very soon after that. Again, stay on top of those social media places and sign up for the newsletter and you will know for sure. But I do have a whole bunch of things lined up for this fall after I get back that I'm really excited to be putting in the shop once it's open, the new shop. Number one, there will be kits, again, for both of my new patterns that are coming out. I have bag and yarn sets that I can't wait to offer you guys. I've done these collaborations before with Darlene, who's Bags by Awesome Granny, and you guys have always loved these, and I can't wait to offer them to you again. She has done up 3 batches of bags for me that I'm going to be dyeing yarn to go with, and those will be in the shop this fall. I think I'm going to aim to have those in the shop over Rhinebeck weekend because I'm not going to take them to Rhinebeck to needles up with me while I'm vending, but I think there will be a fun thing to have in the shop for everybody who can't go to Rhinebeck, quite honestly, because I know everybody can't go to Rhinebeck. I'm not a part of that official not everybody goes to Rhinebeck thing that's happening. I don't really know how to be a part of that or if that's even still a possibility. But I did want to have things specifically in the shop that weekend for those who aren't going to Rhinebeck. But I want to show you the bags. I don't have the yarn dyed up yet for them, but I want to show you the bags because they're so cool. So this is the first one. I love this fabric, this little cottage fabric. Isn't it adorable? I love that cat on the roof and the bird and the tree. And look at this bee. Oh my gosh. So much fun. And the tree is like, when you look at it back here, it almost looks like a moose, but it's actually a tree with like an apple in it. I don't know. This was just the most amazing fabric, and I actually asked her to make me a big bag for me, so I have a bag like this too. So this is the one fabric. Mushrooms. Oh my gosh. I absolutely adore these mushrooms. These are fantastic. And these are all her medium-sized bag. These are perfect for like definitely small projects, but you could even fit like a 2-skein project in these. The last one are these owls, and these owls are just amazing. I love these owls. Aren't they great? So there you go. These 3 bags will be in the shop Rhinebeck weekend. with yarn. There'll be yarn and bag sets. I cannot wait. What else? I've got a new club that I'm working on. I can't really tell you everything about it, but you can be looking for that, and that will be listed. Those club memberships will be in the new shop this fall. I'm hoping to be putting additional accessory items in the shop, like I had those Attenti bags. I'm planning to be able to carry Haya needles. I know. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong corner now. My phone died, so I have to plug it in, and that's why totally different perspective. I have to be close enough to the wall to have the cord reach, and now I have to remember to look up at this corner instead of that corner for the camera. Anyway, I was talking about additional items I'll be able to carry in the new shop that I haven't had in the old shop, and I think I was talking about Haya. I will hopefully be stocking Haya needles. I don't exactly know how I'm going to configure that yet, because it would be impossible for me to carry absolutely everything and have it in stock, but I was saying if you have a specific type of Haya needle that you like, you know, sharps versus regular, or certain sizes that you tend to use a lot, I'd love to know what sizes you use more than others, or that you like Hayas for. I mean, I like the sock sizes, like the 1s and 0s. That's what I use the most. Yeah, please tell me. And if you have other Haya products that you really like, let me know, and I would be happy to look into those as well. And then lastly, this is very exciting for me because it's a totally new thing. I am hoping to be able to offer a brand new yarn line this fall that will be exclusive to Fiber Nymph Dye Works. I'm working with a fairly local mill to me who is milling this yarn specifically for my shop. It's been an ongoing project. I don't even have any samples of it yet to even play with for me. I can't wait till I do. But yeah, that is something that I can't wait to be able to share with you guys. And fingers crossed, again, there's so much finger crossing in all this stuff coming up this fall, that I will have that to share with you in the coming months. I don't know how soon, because I'm not rushing anything and I want to make sure it's right, but that's on the horizon, hopefully, if all goes as planned. So yeah, that's just like a sampling of new things that I have planned for the new shop. New. It's such a time of transition, because, like, you know, I haven't had enough transitions in my life, right? But these are all good transitions and changes, and my overarching goal of all of this is to make my shop better for you guys, to have it be what you would like it to be, what serves you best. I always want to offer the best quality things, whether it's, you know, it's always going to mostly be my yarn and my fiber, things that I'm dyeing and creating for you. The fact that I can start to add in other things now is just an added benefit over the fact that I was not able to do that prior. Yeah, I'm very excited about all of the possibilities coming to the shop once I have my new site. And then lastly, I will just remind you that shortly after I get back from my trip, a couple weeks after that, I will be vending at Needles Up Rhinebeck. So stay tuned for that. I am going to have a Needles Up Rhinebeck colorway, an exclusive colorway. I have it dyed. I dyed it yesterday, the test skein, and I have not had a chance to wind it up yet. So I will show it to you on the next podcast once I'm back from my trip. Maybe that's something I should take with me on my trip, and maybe knit the sample sock. That would probably be a really good idea, actually. All right, that's everything. I need to try to get this whole thing processed and hopefully condensed a bit, because I feel like this went sort of long. But anyway, I will miss talking to you guys while I'm away. Like I said, I will definitely be posting to Instagram. I don't know how much video I'll be doing, or if I'll be doing stories. I'll try to do stories, but I'm not always very good at those. But I'll definitely be posting pictures to my Instagram account if you want to follow along on my 19-day motorcycle trip extravaganza out west and back. All right, that's everything. Have a wonderful upcoming month, and I will be back in touch with you guys when I return. Hopefully with all kinds of fabulous stories about the trip. So take care until next month, until October. I'll see you later. Bye.